like me, love me, follow me right here on Fanbase, exclusively on Fanbase. It's the only place that I do this. So if you hear me anywhere else or anybody tell you I'm going to be somewhere else, it ain't this. It's not the Monday Morning Marketing Meeting. I only nerd out with y'all right here on this particular platform. So this is how we rock over here. Shouts out to all of y'all who have tuned in. I appreciate y'all. Everybody here for the first time. Anybody here for the last time. I think that last call, it got a little feisty when I got off. I heard y'all turned up when I got off the call, but we'll address that in a second too. But shouts out to everybody, man. As this call implies, we talk about marketing on this call. We talk about marketing strategies, ideas, concepts, things to get your creative juices flowing for the day, the week, the month, the year. We are in week 1.5, 2 of February. Yeah, it's like February, like it's gonna be good, and January for a lot of reasons was chaotic in our world. So let's pray that February is a little bit better to those of us that are trying to make some things happen. Luckily, I don't have to do this call by myself. I'm joined by some of my smart, amazing, brilliant, funny, beautiful friends who are up here. Shouts out to Dre Davis. What up, Dre? Gary, Hollywood, Scale, Adrena, Noel, Johan, Jeffrey, and I know a few of our regulars will be up here on this stage soon. I know everybody's kind of checking in late. Joseph, let me get Joseph up here ASAP. What up, Joe? Yeah, like I said, we're gonna make this a great call, man. So shouts out to y'all. Man. Before we get started, please, everybody hit the plus sign at the bottom of your screen. Share the room, X the room, tweet the room, whatever it is that you do to let people know that we are in here. I'm doing it myself as we speak.
And join the camp.
That's right. Join the camp.
Camp is at the top of the screen, so you got to join the camp.
That's right. Get it in, man. That lets you know every time we get on here. So please join the camp, man. Like I said, tell a friend to tell a friend, man. We are growing these calls. It's funny, like the first couple of calls of January were like low because I was like, everybody just kind of getting acclimated. We didn't really do any calls over the holidays, so there was like a lull about 3, almost damn near 4 weeks when we weren't here. But now everybody's starting to tune back in, man. So I know that this year is going to be bigger and better than any of the years previously. Before we get into today's topic, Isaac, any updates on Fanbase we need to know about?
Yeah, and I just posted a link. I just posted an announcement all over social to be going out throughout the day. We are on the verge of launching a $17 million Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. So we will be raising $17 million. We got approval from the SEC last week. We got what is called a non-review, which is pretty impressive.
Nice.
And so we will be launching that round sometime in the near future, but you can join the wait list by going to startengine.com/fanbase and already getting involved or whatever. So I'm choosing my words very carefully, but you can join the wait list to be part of the round early. So $17 million is a big one. It's the biggest ever.
Woo! Congrats.
Yeah, that's a number.
Hey, let's go.
That's a big number, sir. So shouts out to you. Let's get it. All right, so I want to get into today's topic, man. Coming off of Grammys, coming off of Grammys, going into the Super Bowl, but just watching the way that January unfolded and the way that February is kicking off, which is Black History Month, which, oddly enough, I've seen a couple of jokes and a few memes, but I haven't seen a lot of the Black History Month stuff that I used to see. So, I mean, it kind of doesn't even feel like we're doing that anymore. It just feels like February. That's kind of where this topic today came from. It's something that I've heard Isaac touch on many a times. It's something that I've discussed with other people. But I think it's high time we had this conversation because as I watch some of the things that have been said online and just things unfold and coming off of, like I said, Jay-Z's speech, but also going into a Super Bowl where we're about to see Taylor Swift a lot this week, and we're going to see her again on Sunday. I want to ask the question, is antagonizing Black people a great marketing strategy? I think that And this is not to say that Taylor is antagonized. I don't even want to get down that road. I actually like Taylor. Taylor got some hit records. I don't know why y'all be playing with that girl. She may not be the performer that Beyonce is, or she may not have one of your personal favorite songs, but I think that the talent for sure is there. So I hate when we do the thing where we're kind of anti the exposure that she gets, or anti some of the praise that she gets. So in order to be anti, you have to dismiss what it is, and it's like, that's not fair either. So I want to temper anything that I say with regards to her or any of that by saying, like, yo, I fuck with the girl. I think she's super dope. My daughter, my youngest daughter, got a few of her songs ended up on my Spotify wrap up, and I was like, yep, that was my child. She did that. So, you know what I'm saying? I've been tuned into Taylor for a minute, but beyond Taylor, I watched Travis Kelce, her football playing Kansas City Chief boyfriend, who was, you know, actually still is one of my favorite players in the NFL, but they are calling what has been called a fade in the black community forever, the Travis Kelce. So now Travis Kelce is popularized getting literally a fade haircut. And everybody's like, oh my God, everybody's now getting this Travis Kelce style haircut. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck are we talking about? A fade? Like, with that we've been getting since we was kids, you know what I'm saying? And our parents are like, this is insane. So, from Taylor to Travis Kelce to the Grammys to the conversation around the Grammys to instances that we've seen, like with Jim Jones when it came to I think that was Versace. Don't quote me on what brand it was Gucci. Just the things that we've seen around what feels like kind of purposeful. Which one of the brands had like the thing where they were like sexualizing kids? I know Kim Kardashian was tied to it.
Balenciaga.
That was Balenciaga. Yeah. So it's like I may not even want to limit this conversation to antagonizing black people, but just antagonizing, period. That seems to be a marketing strategy that at the very least gets people talking, gets things trending on social media. It becomes a national news story, and in the desire to be included in the story, and the desire to have access to brands or things that seem to not want our dollars. And this is specifically, I guess, a black conversation to a certain degree, but just when we see these things time and time again, and for a while, I definitely looked at it and said maybe some of this is coincidence and just happenstance and just, hey, somebody fumbled in the marketing department, right? But I am starting to really, really feel like, oh, we're doing this to like incite emotion and a visceral reaction, something that we talked about on this call many a times, that when we tweet, when we post, when we are, vocal about certain things, you say it in a way using some hyperbole or whatever the case may be because you want to get that reaction. If you get that reaction, you get the engagement. And in the 2024, when engagement is the rules of the game, and that's the way you win. When we talk about politics, when we talk about religion, when we talk about anything, content creators, branding, engagement is the name of the game. So engagement in any kind, I guess, it's kind of like the form of like all promotion is good promotion. It's like pissing people off, no matter if you're pissing them off. It's like getting that reaction, getting that engagement, getting everybody to get online and say their piece seems to be the new currency. So I want to ask you guys, and this is the question I posed to the stage and the question I'm going to pose to the audience. Is antagonizing black people or just antagonizing people, period, a really, really, really good marketing strategy? And I'll start with whoever wants to jump in.
It's the best marketing strategy.
I'm surprised you ain't mentioned swag surfing, bro.
Polarizing. Yes, best strategy.
I forgot Taylor invented swag surfing. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Whitewater rafting.
Isaac, what you was gonna say, man? I know you want to jump in. This your wheelhouse right here. Go for it.
I was saying it's the best because studying, like, as long as I've been studying social media and the psychology, I always say social media, in my opinion, is 50% technology, 50% psychology. I think there are 4 pillars of engagement that create high amounts of engagement: entertainment, attention, information, and finally the last one, conflict. So conflict, it creates the most engagement because people in general, but especially the African-American community, we live in our feelings. We live in our emotions. We are not a logical group of people most times. We are very emotional, and that is a way to you can always manipulate somebody that lives through their emotions, right? That operates through an emotional space rather than a logical space. We're governed by a three-headed body: instinct, logic, and emotion, right? And so when you say things or do things that create a reaction, we can't help but respond, therefore creating conflict that's creating content. So the conflict creates content, which creates engagement, which creates visibility. And most of these times that these articles are written or these commercials are made or these statements are made, they're done with the intention to trigger Black people. And I think we have to get beyond the point we got to recognize when we're being triggered as opposed to immediately responding and getting upset about things that we obviously know aren't true or aren't, factual. So why get bothered about it? But it's just hard to tell people not to be able to do that. So I always say that disrespecting Black people is the best form of marketing because we can't help but be outraged and then express our outrage, which creates tons and tons of views and engagement. So it's just a matter of how we handle those situations. But yeah, pissing people off, and I'll say this finally, in also doing this on the political spectrum and the political field, I always say fear and anger are the best motivators. People are not really out here doing things off a sense of duty. When they feel their beliefs are challenged or they're threatened, they get scared or they get angry, and then that creates the reaction that you need. So that's the same thing can be with Trump supporters. That's the same thing that can be with the Black community. That could be the same thing that with the Jewish community or the gay community, is when things are done or said that make you angry or afraid, that is where you get the most response and the most reaction out of groups of people. So it is a perfect and excellent marketing strategy to piss people off.
Yeah, especially when they don't have the resources or latitude, like to hit you in the chin for real, like to touch your pockets or to affect your bottom line. There's really no negative ramifications for it. I'll say it's like, yeah, people are pissed off and they're protesting, but again, like the engagement's up. So depending on who the marketing strategist is and what their overall plot and plan was, then it was still a success. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, you're going to boycott Gucci, but, yeah, some niggas are going to buy Gucci just because everybody else saying fuck Gucci. So, they don't really lose, I don't feel like.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it. We saw it with the Grammys. So the Grammys have never mistweeted anything. And then they mistweeted that Nicki won the Grammys, but we just got off of a week of the Nicki and Meg Thee Stallion show. And one of the biggest talking points was Nicki never won a Grammy. So it's like, is that really a coincidence? Like, you've never done this before, and then you've done this on top of something that was so big. Like, did the Grammys need some more tweets? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Oh, they tweeted that she won a Grammy?
Yeah, they tweeted that Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice won a Grammy, but they didn't announce it at the Grammy show. They said it was a mistake. They literally said it was a mistake. And so, of course, Black Twitter was in an uproar.
Well, the Barbs was in an uproar. But that's what I mean. And the Barbs are the perfect, marketing. They're the perfect marketing tool. I mean, they go a little bit too far. But they create the perfect. I mean, I think that type of marketing works against Nicki Minaj because the Grammys are a peer award. They're not a popularity contest, and so I think people are observing the way that the Barbs act, and then that actually works against her winning Grammy awards, in my opinion. But it'll definitely, those things that trend. I'll give you a prime example. Even with what Jay-Z did, what Jay-Z said in his speech last night, there was a lot of conflict in his statement about Beyonce never winning Album of the Year, but she has the most Grammy Awards. And I immediately went to Twitter and was rereading all of these tweets about, dude, you're a millionaire. Miley Cyrus just won her first Grammys. The first thing you get up on stage to say is Blue Ivy has Grammys, and Miley Cyrus doesn't have Grammys, and your wife is the most decorated, has the most Grammys of any woman of all time, and you're complaining about the fact that she doesn't have Album of the Year. And I knew that was going to create conflict. I don't necessarily even agree with the statement that Jay-Z said. And then also saying some of the artists don't even belong in the category. Conflict. Like, you're challenging people's beliefs. Well, who is he talking about? What does he mean? So those things create that conflict, that create engagement. It's all about engagement. It's eyeballs. It's like, what's going to draw people to look and react and respond, which helps advertisers beyond belief.
Good morning, everybody. Can I jump in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hi, Isaac. So I know you all are talking on a larger scale, and while all of that is true, it also applies to, I guess, a smaller scale on the creator side, because I've noticed that creators try to create this fake beef or inflate maybe something small or personal or something others don't know. And I put it in the chat, and I really think it comes from a space of people not having originality or even any talent whatsoever. So knowing that drama brings eyeballs, they get the people talking at the water cooler. This is like the most, it's the easiest, cheapest route to go to platform themselves. But I think it was Gary that said it. Sometimes it does backfire, right? And sometimes the people who create and inflate the drama thinking that they're going to win and they're going to be on top, it actually backfires when their receipts don't add up or if there's no receipts presented. And I think that we are in a time where, yes, drama and beef and all of this sells, but it doesn't stick and it doesn't last because people are a lot smarter. There's a lot more access to, you heard Isaac, in 2.5 seconds after you hear something, what do? You run to Google or YouTube or whatever to either fact check it or see. And so once you see that someone is bluffing or BSing and, you know, it's all kind of dust and baby powder, then you move on because now that person or corporation or whatever looks like a clown and you actually empathize with the victim isn't the word I want to use, but the underdog, right? So, you know, nowadays, back in the day, it used to be 15 minutes of fame, and you did whatever you could to get the 15 minutes of fame. We live in a time where it's literally, you have 2.5 seconds to say something dumb, go viral for 12 seconds, and you're over. So you have 1 minute of fame, and people move forward.
Totally agree. I think everything that you're saying is 1,000% right. Also, guys, with the chat room is going crazy, so please jump in the chat if you are in the audience, and you know, until we get to the point where we start bringing you all up on stage, which will be in about 5 or 6 minutes. But yeah, please leave your comments in the chat. I think that, and I see in the chat that some people are bringing up like some of the things that don't last or don't work, or even kind of piggybacking off of the last comment from Natasha, where she's saying, you know, a lot of this stuff doesn't last. But I will tell you this about getting that visceral reaction from people, because I see it brought up in the chat. Think about, and this isn't necessarily even antagonistic, but when we think about Blueface and Krishan, and these are two people that I have tried definitely to avoid at all costs on social media. I can't stand them. Both of them get on my nerves. I'm just ridiculously just not a fan of either one of those guys. But I will tell you this, that, you know, them constantly popping up on your social media, them constantly being in your face with some level of drama, shenanigans, ridiculousness, or whatever you may classify it as, because some of y'all might be fans, I don't know. But them doing what they do, one day, because they've amassed such a following and such a level of attention, one day, one of them is going to catch a record, and because we've been forcefully tuned in for one reason or another, it's going to fuck around and be a hit because they've garnered so much attention in the process while they were being foolish. And that is the currency. When we say that the marketing, you know, I see somebody in the chat say, you know, well, how is it good marketing? Because the goal is to get you to buy something. It may not necessarily mean for you to buy something today. The crazy marketing, the antagonistic marketing may not necessarily be necessary for you to buy the current product. It's to amass the following, it's to amass the engagement, and then sell you something, I don't know, a year from now.
It's a revenue generator. They have a show. They have shows on Zeus. So if they get in all these spats and these arguments all the time and all these beefs, and then he has 2 different baby mamas, and then she goes back and Krishan gets a Blueface tattoo on her face, that's going to generate views because it's going to anger women. Like, yo, why are you doing this? This guy mistreats you. He doesn't respect you. It's playing directly into the emotional core of what triggering people is like. I'm gonna be honest. I do that myself. Like, I say things or I post things in a way that I know in some way are going to trigger people, but what I do is also bring it back down to the rabbit hole of the accurate information. But I always say something spicy that gets people going, and then, okay, if you continue to read and you pay attention, then you'll get the information. But if you don't, before you know it, it's 50 people arguing in the comment section of one of my posts. and it'll go on for weeks, and they'll still do it. I still see, like, I get notifications all the time of posts that I done posted a week ago, and they still arguing about something that I done said and moved on, but it's creating engagement. It's bringing attention to my profile. And so for Krishan and Blueface, they're making money off that. That's making money. All that conflict is making them a ton of money.
I agree. I agree in a different aspect of it. Like, I don't say like it's like the controversy of it that makes the engagement itself. I think it's just like, well, particularly with Blueface and Krishan, they haven't learned from 6ix9ine that, you know, there is a negative side of always bringing this negative kind of content. And if there is no informative basis to your type of content that you're creating, and that's what you just said. You said, I bring that informative perspective into it that clears everything up. They don't. So that negative perspective can drown them in the long run. So for me, like, I make content, and my content is like engagement based, and it's literally, I only focus on engagement, but I also focus on the informative conversation of it. So it might be a debate and argument between the black culture in the UK and the black culture in America, but between that conversation is this informative base that makes me a reliable content creator. Does that make sense?
No, you do a good job at that, Adonis. You always pit the UK versus America. Who has the best chicken? Who has the best food? Who's smarter? Who dresses better? That's conflict. So again, you're gonna get, like, you're literally tricked, because UK is gonna be like, of course it's the UK, and then you're like, what? And then you're standing there as an American, like, what are you talking about?
No, third, they don't have an accent.
Got
the accent.
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Can I say something, Isaac?
Absolutely. What up, Verse?
What's good? All is well. All is well, man. This is Verse. Good morning, everybody. High energy, high frequency. You already know. I want to tap in on a couple of things really quick. I got to go back to the Grammys as it parallels to the popularity contest as well as the Blueface conversation. I heard Nick say something about, they're going to catch one. Well, me being in the record business and Nick being in the record business and the business of music, you have to look at the popularity contest that actually nurtured them. So they did. He got two baby mothers. They got a whole label deal for $5 million, right? They got 2 records top viral on TikTok. Like, it's making tons and tons and tons of money, and they're seeing that, right? But does that equate to talent? Not necessarily. It engages you to go in and say, hey, let me buy that. Let me buy into that, whether I'm paying with my eyes or whether I'm doing the download. So what you're saying, Nick, is totally correct, and that has already been done. Meanwhile, he's in jail right now with his feet up, making millions of dollars every quarter, right, about this, all based off controversy. Now, I do want to say something about the Grammys, right? Like, let's be really clear. Even with Jay-Z's comments, yes, I do stand on that. Like, we won a Grammy last night for Coco Jones, you know what I mean? And I'm still saying that they still got to get it right. You know what I mean? Because it's like more so.
Congrats on that, by the way. Yeah, congrats for sure.
Absolutely.
Man, I See You record was dope, man. Coco's dope, amazing for sure. Thank you guys. Salute. But, this is the thing, respectfully, like, we have to look at the categories, right? There's things people arguing about the Afrobeats category. There's tons of artists in Africa, but only Burna Boy and Tyler are the ones that took home awards. Is it a popularity contest, or is the music that great? Right? So even when in a space where people are getting alienated, I love Killer Mike. Salute all day. To swept the Grammys, 3 awards, but then the man gets arrested. After that, like, we have more viral moments about him getting arrested and walked out than him winning the Grammys. You understand what I'm saying? That's the negativity connotation to it, right? So what does that say? In a space, yes, okay, we won 3 awards, but we still were allowed to arrest this man on Grammy property for getting an involvement with a Grammy employee. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, my point I'm making is that, there are some valid points there where it is still a popularity contest in the Grammy voting scenario, because it's who you're popular to in the voting board. I'm on the board, and then there's another board, that people vote and have a handful of options. There's no way in the world you can have a Freddie Gibbs project, in comparison to having Nas as a nomination as well, too. Like, where do you get this hat from, So these are the reasons why I'm, like, in my head, like, we still got to get it right, because it's not just a talent thing. It's a popularity thing as well, too. So it's a little bit mixed in there, So that's how I feel about
Verse,
that Jay-Z's comments were real.
We can get into that on another level, because I'll say this about that situation real quick, is that I absolutely disagree with what Jay-Z said, and for a ton of reasons. And as a matter of fact, in November, when Mike got nominated for the Grammys, I'm going to read you a text message that I sent him, and he called me after this, and I said this to him. I said, because he said something about fan base. I said, thanks for the kind words about fan base today. I said, get out there and campaign for these Grammys. LA and San Francisco have the largest voting chapters, so make sure you do some sort of events for the membership out there. The Grammys are just like running for office. And my issue with what was said last night by Jay-Z is he offered no information. He sat on stage and said, get it right, get it right, get it right. But he literally could have said, hey, to all you young rappers out there, just being a rapper is not enough. Join the Recording Academy. Make sure that you go around to all these membership chapters. Make sure that you're Make sure that your voice is heard. Make sure that you participate in the process, because it's not your fans voting on these awards. It is your peers voting on these awards. And that is the issue that I had with what he said, because he offered.
That's not his job, Isaac.
Huh?
That's not his job.
What are you talking about as a?
That's not his job, Isaac.
Wait.
That is not his job.
Wait, get the way.
Hold on. We're gonna reset.
That's his job, but he's an artist.
That's not his job. That is not his job.
Let him reset it. Go ahead, Nick.
Please reset. First of all, we are at the midpoint mark. So Gary, I want you to start looking in the audience, because I know people want to chime in. I'm looking at the chat. People obviously have opinions about it. 2, I want to reset this conversation and bring it back to the marketing aspect of what we do, because this is a marketing call, and I do not want to turn this into a Jay-Z call, a Krishan.
No, we can do that. We can do that after this.
We can do it. We can do after a separate call.
We can do the after show, because I want to talk about this.
I want to talk about it. Yeah, totally, 1,000%.
Hold up. So Nick, there is a marketing element to what I just said.
Yeah, I'm bringing people.
There's a marketing element.
I know it is, but I know if we go down that, I know it is, but I'm saying I don't want to go down a hole, because I know everybody else might get stuck on it's Jay-Z, or get stuck on it's, you know what I'm saying? The names elicit responses that go down I like Jay-Z, I don't like Jay-Z, and then we lose the marketing part of it. So I just want to make sure that everybody on the call.
Offending black people is pretty much what we're talking about.
Well, the call is about antagonizing black people as a marketing strategy.
Natural.
People
I'm trying to mute it.
strategy. So everybody hang tight, because I see everybody jumping in. Because I also know that because the stage is packed, I know that we're going to have a lot of people jump in. I see Antonio down here. What up, Junior? Hey, listen, we got some real music people on this call, and that's why I know I had to reset the call, because it's going to turn into the music business conversation, and everybody on this call is not in the music business, so I don't want to alienate our audience, and I don't want to alienate our stage for people who are not Grammy Award-winning producers, songwriters, managers, execs, and all the stuff that we do. I want to make sure we keep this call about marketing. So,
Nick, can I show you something? Example? Do you see how quick that conflict turned into engagement? I said I disagree with Jay-Z.
Yes.
And look how fast it turned into chaos. Right? It was chaos. What? It's not
It's tension. It's tension immediately.
Right. That's the point. It's triggering people. I keep telling people all the time. It's like, all you got to do is make somebody mad, or challenge somebody's belief, and that is how you trigger people to create engagement. But go ahead, whoever's on stage.